Hey everybody, Mara Hoover here, host of The Mara Show and founder of FemPower You and Financial Power You. So excited to have you here joining us live on The Mara Show. The Mara Show broadcasts live every Wednesday at 11 a.m. Pacific, and we bring to you experts in the area of personal development, business, and relationships. I'm thrilled to have a dear friend of mine, Deanna Potter, as a guest today on The Mara Show. I want to go ahead and read her bio, and then we're going to jump right in. And I do want to tell you, she has some pretty exciting offers for you and a really cool free gift. So make sure you hang around through the whole interview to check those things out. Deanna Potter is a business and profit planning expert, speaker, and coach who helps professionals increase cash flow and improve systems through a solid profit plan driven by their personal passions. Deanna has generated stellar sales and owned winning businesses for years. Her achievements include her honor as Rookie of the Year for Coldwell Banker, 3-time recognition as Top Performer of the Year with Hartford Insurance Group, and team leader managing over 100 self-employed business entrepreneurs. She gifts them with focus, accountability, and encouragement as they pursue a passionate and profitable plan for their business. Welcome to the show, Deanna.
Thank you for having me, Miss Mara. I'm so excited to be here today.
I am so excited that we were able to make this work out. We have been wanting to play together for quite some time.
Yes, we have. We've played in other arenas, but never on a Google Hangout, so I'm super excited.
Yeah, and I am just so excited to have you here, and I know you have such amazing information that you're going to be sharing with the audience. But the first thing I wanted to talk about is a little bit about your brand and how you've created this idea of bringing more profit and passion into business and how those two things go together. Can you address kind of what gave you this initial inspiration?
Yeah, you know how it started for me is that, in nearly 20 years of business, and I spent 11 years in corporate, and I've had several entrepreneurial-based businesses. So many of us know that we're supposed to have a business plan. And when I say the word business plan to people, professionals, career-based people, or entrepreneurs or small business owners, very seldom do I get jubilation and joy and excitement. I get, oh gosh, yeah, I need to do that. There's a lot of dread and a lot of fear and a lot of just this very doom and gloom kind of approach to it. Mm-hmm. And I realized that a lot of the time it's because it's something that needs to be done, but it's a little bit of a burden. In fact, it's a lot of a burden. And I very quickly realized that, especially when it came to small business owners, it was because a lot of the time they weren't digging down into what was passionate for them about wanting to write the business plan. Why are we doing what we're doing every single day? And I talk a lot about that in the trainings and the workshops I do or in the coaching that I do with people. Why in the heck are we doing what we're doing, people? Because we spend a lot of time every day and a lot of energy and effort and sacrifice to dive into our businesses and dedicate what we do to our business. So I talk a lot about, when I do classes and workshops and coaching, what is your purpose? And I talk about what a purpose statement is. Mm-hmm. And I believe a purpose statement is the #1 most significant priority in your life. Whether it's your family, whether it's your nonprofit, whether it's your legacy, what is it in your life that really gives you that heat in your belly? Mm-hmm. And usually what we find is when you've identified that becomes your passion, and if everything you do ties back into that, then writing a profitable, passionate plan for your business will not just get you up on January 30th or February 14th. That's what's going to get you up on October 28th with the same amount of drive and energy that you had at the beginning of the year. And that's the difference between a profitable, passionate plan versus a business plan.
Got it. So it's a lot more about digging into what do you want to accomplish in your personal life, in your business life, and then how can you bring all of that together to create something that's really going to inspire you through the entire year.
Yeah, and I got to be honest with you, I hesitate with the word passion or passionate because it's so overused. And, I remember years of sitting myself in seminars and classes, and people would say, find your calling in life. Are you working with your passions? And I was, like many, making great money and doing good things, financially, and I'd look around and go, well, I don't know if this is my passion or my calling, but the money's good, so I guess that works, you know. And
Mm-hmm.
I had, you know, some big transitions happen in my life that at the time kind of stripped me down to the bare minimum, and it made me go, okay, as I'm rebuilding my life, and I know we're going to touch base on that in a little bit, I'm now getting, I understand what my calling is because I'm getting to do it now, but it took a lot of reevaluation, and, you know, people go through different things and different choices and different journeys in life. Not all the time are you working your passion.
Mm-hmm.
Your business may not always be that, but sometimes it's about identifying, you know, how can this be the means to getting to perform or feed or support my passion outside of my business.
Mm-hmm. I love that. That's a great perspective. So what exactly goes into a passionate profit plan?
Yeah, it's a tongue twister.
Yeah, there's some of the things that were mentioned in your bio is really helping people with cash flow and sales. So are those the two things that you focus on, and how do those kind of integrate together?
Yeah, so let me tell you something first off about myself. I'm a very pragmatic person. So when we talk about all this passion stuff, it's a little loosey-goosey and ooey and gooey. So that's about as ooey-gooey as I get. I'm very, very pragmatic, and when I designed a passionate profit plan or a profit plan, it's very specific. There are 5 things. It is lead generation, it's marketing, it's systems, it's profits or earnings, and it's education, or what I really call is kind of internal business development. It's the inside of your business. It is those 5 very specific things. And when a company comes to me for training, an organization comes to me for speaking, or an individual comes to me for coaching, I will say to them, where are you lacking and what do you need? There usually always falls into one of those 5 categories. You know, is it that you're not clear on how you're reaching your message out to the world about who you are and what you do? Is it a marketing piece? And for me personally, I find marketing breaks down into one of 2 areas. It's either your publicity, how you're reaching and how you're getting out there, or your brand. What are you really putting out about what you do and who you are? If it's lead generation, that simply means it's about getting out there and working your business. I'm amazed at how few of us really have dedicated time where we actually prospect and work the business. What it comes down to at the end of the day is you and I and everyone listening in and watching us right now, we're really all in the same business. Every one of us. It's the lead generation business. I don't care whether we sell pens or we sell products or services. We all need leads. So we should all be dedicating time. I'm a very structured time block kind of person. If I can put it in color and I can stick it in a chart, and I love all that stuff, makes my toes curl. So I'm a very structured time person, and I believe in blocking the time and dedicating the time to getting that done. Some people don't like picking up the phone and calling. That's fine. If you're good face-to-face, then decide whether that's going to be one-on-one, or if you're going to be the king or queen of networking, then be specific about it. But if you're going to take the time and energy to block the time, register, drive your car there, be purposeful about the type of networking you're doing and get one-on-one and start building relationships. You know, if it's systems, what kind of systems are you lacking? People always come to me and say, if I could only be better organized. Here's one of the best nuggets I can share with you and the people who are listening. It is not about organization. It's about discipline. And that should make everyone feel better, because we can all be disciplined. It's all about just limiting your choices. You know, when we go on a diet, what's the first thing they tell you? Go home and clean out your pantry. Because if you decide you're going to be bad and it's 10 o'clock at night and you open your pantry or refrigerator and all you have is a box of gluten-free dry crackers and some celery, guess what? Your choices are limited and you're about to be very disciplined. You know, it's about being less about being organized, more about being disciplined. You know, that kind of thing. And, you know, profits and earnings, it's about understanding where has your success come from in the past. You've got to track your numbers. You've got to know where the results are coming from. I think sometimes there's so many options. Social media, should I be on all of it? You know, clients are everywhere. We get kind of scattered and we can't decide where we should be, when we need to become very focused at 1 or 2 revenue flows and be very diligent about it and be able to track and know where did my business come from and where should I be focusing. And when it comes to internal business development, it's all about the behind-the-scenes stuff. Do you need an assistant and you've been too scared or fearful to hire one? I talk to a lot of small business owners who want to bring team members on. They're great at their talent or their skill or their product, but they've never managed before and they've never hired before. You know, there's a skill to that, and it takes maybe some guidance and some learning along the way. So a profit plan's got some very specific elements to it.
Yeah, it sounds like it's definitely really detailed. So what you basically do is when you're working with a client one-on-one, you're helping them to hash out each of these different 5 areas.
Absolutely.
And this is also something that you cover in your speaking. You speak nationally, correct? And you're working on a new book as well. So how is that all tying together?
Yeah, you know, because you are an author. Until you do that first one, oh my gosh, it's a monstrous task, I'll tell you. And mine is also a bit of an emotional process for me, because my book is called From Distress to Success, the 5 things that you must choose to do in order to be victorious. And it's a self-help, but it's also a bit of a small memoir about a portion of my life and a tragedy that I went through. And my story is that in April of 2008, I went in for a surgery. I was supposed to be in the hospital for a quick 2 days, recover for 3 weeks, and be right back to my business. And I suffered some complications and was back in the hospital by ambulance about 9 hours after being home. I was immediately checked into the trauma unit, where I spent 6 months in the trauma unit. What had happened is I suffered a leak in my stomach, and it caused a chronic abscess in my body internally. They could not solve how to close the leak. And at the end of that 6 months, I would like to tell you that that was where that ended, but it turned out to be a 44-month struggle to save my life. And the hospital I started at kind of ran out of tools in their toolbox, called about halfway through this and said, "We don't know what to do with you," sent me over to another hospital. And over the course of the 44 months, I had over a dozen upper GIs. I had multiple surgeries, and I lived 36 of those months with drain bags and so forth. The good news is, obviously, I'm alive, and they fixed me. Yay! But my husband and I went through a lot of struggles. The insurance company did cover my $2.75 million claim that I was covered under, but we lost my 6-figure income, and we lost everything. Both our homes, my retirement account, everything. And what the bigger struggles were that I lost who I was through that process, my identity. And so, you know, one of our points of discussion today is about self-confidence in sales and in business. And when you have an identity crisis like that, it's amazing to me as I go out and I speak to people and I talk about what it takes to be successful in business and be successful in the sales world. And I think one of the things we struggle with every day as professionals is when we don't perform in our business, I find it's one of 2 things. It's either a lack of knowledge, we need to go out there and learn and develop a skill, or it's a lack of confidence. And so when I was going through this process, I came out the other side, and there were 5 very distinctive life lessons I learned about what it takes in those darkest moments to really come out the other side, pull yourself up, and fight back and make it through the other side. And there are things that I think all of us can apply, whether it be death, divorce, financial hardship, job loss. They're just standard rules of life. And yeah, so I'm writing the book, and I'm looking forward to bringing it out to the world. It looks like right now it should come out around October, and obviously I'll have a new presentation and keynote around it. And you know, right now it's all about speaking, coaching, and writing as much as possible. So
and I'm sure you've got that built right into your time block.
I am blocked as much as possible, but like anybody else, I think as business owners, we struggle with 2 things. We struggle with fitting it all into our schedule, you know, and then the guilt of not getting it all into the schedule, don't we? You know?
Yeah. I always have the tendency to have a really long list, and I focus on the stuff I didn't get done instead of the stuff that I did get done. And I think that that's something that we have to train ourselves to celebrate the small wins as well, especially when you're working on a book.
Absolutely.
I'm in the process of writing my 2nd book, and I would love to have had it out 6 months ago. And life happens, and I'm just giving myself that space and time and celebrating every time I do have a chance to sit down and write a little bit. So
yes. My husband.
Congratulations.
My husband's a 9 to 5 clock in government employees and law enforcement, and he keeps saying, so what if it doesn't happen by October? And I go, you don't understand. And that's so important for those of us who are entrepreneurs. We have to, there's no one disciplining us. We have to discipline ourselves.
Right.
And, that's a real tough thing to do at times because we can easily let ourselves drift and kind of slide to the side. So, it's a double-edged sword. There's no doubt.
Yeah. Well, for those of you that are just joining us, this is Deanna Potter, my guest today on The Mara Show. The Mara Show airs live every Wednesday at 11 a.m. Pacific Time. We bring experts in the area of personal development, business, and relationships. And each of our guests gives away a free gift, and Deanna's going to be talking about that a little bit later in the show. But I do want to direct you over to themarashow.com, where you can view all of our past archives of guest interviews that we've had on the show and check out all of their free gifts. So head over that way, and Deanna and I are going to jump back into conversation now. One of the key things that I know that you're focusing on, and we were just talking about self-confidence, is how that ties into sales. And at the end of the day, you said, we're all in the same business, and that is lead generation. And I'm sure that you also believe we're all in the business of sales. No matter what we do, once we get those leads, we've got to figure out, well, how do I convert that? And that is that process of sales. So, which is most important in today's demanding and competitive sales world? Do you think it is the sales skills, or do you think that it is the confidence, or how do those two things work together?
That's a really good question because both are very important, obviously. You can have all the sales skills in the world. You can be a master at it. You can be so smooth and so graceful at it. But if you don't have the confidence to actually apply them and spit it out, then what good is it? Mm-hmm. I would almost say that I would rather have somebody who has the confidence to get out there and actually try to close the deal, even if they're stumbling a little bit over themselves. I'd rather have that person who's not fearful and has the self-confidence than the person that's got all the practice in the world but doesn't try. What good is it? So I would say the self-confidence. I really think that that's so important. They got to be able to really have the strength and the ability to just say it and try. Mm-hmm. And here's the reason. We've all seen that, those examples out there of that young first-time salesperson who's not really too sure what he or she is doing, but they're getting out there and they're trying, and they make it happen. They learned through their experience. Mm-hmm. And then we've got that person who continues to learn more for that day when they're going to finally get out there, but they don't really get out there and make it happen. Right. Now, with that being said, I'm a sales trainer and I'm a sales coach. I believe in practice. Mm-hmm. I've come across a lot of people who've been doing sales for many, many years, and they think that they don't need to learn anything new, more, or in addition. You got to keep refining, reassessing, and kind of reapplying new skills to your library or your toolbox. Mm-hmm. Competition is continuing to get tighter. Your clients are continuing to get smarter. Right now, it's amazing to me when I do corporate training that you have got 4 generations working together in the same environment. And believe me, that the 20-year-old and the 70-year-old are operating very differently, and if they're your client base, they're looking for things and they're looking to be sold to very differently. So you've got to keep those skills up. But I got to tell you, I think the self-confidence, you got to have it. It's got to be out there, and it's got to be first and foremost, because with enough self-confidence, you'll try first, and you'll be willing and wanting to develop those sales skills.
Got it. So that with the confidence comes a willingness to be open to developing those things. And
that's my belief. That's been my experience, yeah.
Got it. So in the area of sales, one of the main things that I think gets talked about is this idea of the close and actually asking for the sale. So where does confidence versus skills come in when we're talking about the specific close or asking for the sale?
Yeah, so I have a very different opinion on this whole the close, the big T, the close. You're always closing. There is no, okay, I've seen them once, I've seen them twice. Today's the day where I do the close. Right. You are always closing. And different clients are going to be ready to close the deal with you or basically say yes and sign on the dotted line at different stages because their needs will be met at different stages and their readiness will be kind of developed at different stages. I believe that a very good salesperson from the minute they meet you And if they're really good at what they do, you won't feel like you're being closed. Okay?
Right.
I will tell you right now, I have been closing you and hopefully the participants since the moment we got on the phone. I've been building credibility. I've been telling you some of the things I do. I've been providing you with some of my experiences and examples, right? I may have people on this call that are going, wow, that's what she does? I could use some of that. Oh, she's worked with those kind of people. Oh, I'm in corporate. She does corporate training, right? I've been providing information. I've been providing examples. You might be saying that I've been potentially closing people throughout this entire time. And I think it's important because often, what do we have a problem being? We have a problem being braggadocious. Nobody likes a bragger. Nobody likes to toot their own horn. I try to tell people it's not about you saying, I'm so good. I've done this. This is how I am. No, it's about through stories and through examples, being able to share information about yourself and what you do. And if you believe that you really have a good product or you provide a good service, then you've got to have the faith that you can really help people and you believe you can make a difference in their lives and their business. Mm-hmm. So you shouldn't feel that you're out there being egotistical. You should believe that you're really out there sharing information that's important and mm-hmm. helpful to others. So when it comes to the close, I don't believe that there's necessarily always the close. Now, with that being said, yeah, there are certain industries out there where, hey, you got a pitch meeting, the clients are coming in, you got 45 minutes, make it good. I mean, there's always those exceptions. Right. But I think for a majority of us out there that are out there networking, building businesses, so forth and so on, very seldom is it the close. It's mm-hmm. a constant connection. It's about providing service. And what's interesting is that when you look at, I think it was the Association of Sales Executives, I forget what the organization was. They ran statistics and they looked at what it takes through follow-up to really build a relationship in order to seal a deal with a client. Mm-hmm. And the amount of times it takes to follow up and really seal that deal is astronomical. Mm-hmm. To build a relationship in person, it takes between 2 to 5 times. To build it online, and that means emails, that means social contacts, it's up to 17 times. The wow. problem is that we as people back off after about 2 times at best. Yeah. Because of our fear of rejection, our insecurity, gets back to that self-confidence. So we don't do as much, and we have a tendency, because we're humans, to take it personally. Oh, yeah. They didn't return my call. Oh, yeah. They didn't like me. When how many times I'm guilty of it too, and I feel guilty, oh my gosh, I meant to get back to that person. Yep. And I'm often grateful they call me again. Thank you so much for calling. I felt so bad. It's not you. I'm just busy. We're all busy. Yeah. The more we can realize that it behooves of us to continue to follow up with people and we get past it, our businesses will be more successful. Our self-confidence will grow once we get beyond it. And I think that we'll find that, overall people appreciate the fact that we are diligent and we take our business seriously. So the close, I don't think, is one big event. It's a constant, continual flow of contacts.
Yeah, and I completely agree with what you were saying, first of all, about the close, the fact that it's more about developing relationships, and then what you were just saying about really needing to continue that follow-up. And what I've found in my business is it is 7 to 12 times, and if I'm picking up the phone and I'm telling myself a story about why this person isn't getting back to me, and I'm creating this whole thing in my head and they don't like me and this, that, and the other, it creates a nightmare for us because it's not really the way it is. The way it is that they're busy and they've got stuff going on, and until they either tell you yes or go away, you can continue to do that follow-up. And I think that building that self-confidence and knowing and committing to not telling yourself a story that you don't know, you just make something up. I mean, I find that I'm really, really good at that. So
yeah, and for the purposes of full disclosure, and in case any of my coaching clients are listening in and want, because they could be, and they all know this, I will tell you I'm a very transparent, open, and honest coach. I'm an open and honest speaker and trainer. I'm as guilty as everybody else. Mm-hmm. I am so not perfect. I think what makes me so effective as a trainer, speaker, and coach is that I'll tell you all straight up, oh my gosh, I did it last week, or I have to fight it all the time. We all do. We all do. It's so common. And I'm so good. My husband will come home and with something, and I'll be like, honey, relax. Maybe they had a fight with their boss. Maybe this happened, that happened. So when I catch myself doing it, the problem is I've educated him too well. And he'll go, sweetheart, what do you tell me? And I go, oh, shut up. Like, I want to hear that right now. You know,
I don't want to take my own medicine.
When they use all of your smarts back at you. But, you know,
Yeah.
we're all guilty of it. We have to remind ourselves. We really do.
Absolutely.
But, you know, and speaking on our topic with self-confidence, I will often tell people, when you're at that moment where, for whatever reason, that self-confidence is low and you're not finding you got the strength to pick up the phone or to go in and do your best, it's so important for us to go back and remember those moments when we were at our best. We closed that great deal. We really pleased that client. Whatever it was, because I guarantee you, whether it was a month ago or 5 years ago, the talents, the skills, and the execution that you did at that point in time, Mara, all of that you had in you then, we still have in us right now at this moment. It is no different. It didn't just disappear and poof, poof away.
Right.
We have it all. We just need to remember what it felt like and what we did then and bring it back around. That's it. That's it. Yeah. I still to this day remember what I had a background in real estate. I remember winning Rookie of the Year with Coldwell Banker back in 2001. I remember getting off the stage and getting in the car and calling my husband. I had tears welling in my eyes, and I remember telling him, the only word to this day I remember telling him, I couldn't find another word, I feel unstoppable. That was the word. I felt unstoppable. I remember what I was wearing. I remember everything about that moment. It gives me goosebumps, and I, to this day, will always muster up that moment when I'm feeling like, oh, I'm a little nervous, not sure what's going to happen. You got to find those moments. You got to remember them, because there are so many times when we're not so sure or we're feeling beat up. That same person I was that day, those feelings are still there. We all have those moments, and that's what we need to pull back from.
Yeah, that true feeling of being unstoppable.
Yeah.
I love that. So one of the things that I think goes into self-confidence is this idea of, is it better to be liked or to be respected? So you talk in your workshops about the difference between what it is to be liked and what it is to be respected. What is the difference, and why is it so important?
Okay, so those who follow me, all of my Potter fans, know I have a really, really, really strong opinion on this. So I do not necessarily believe that perhaps in your personal lives that these need to be exclusive or separate. But I have a very, very strong, clear opinion about this in business. And I do an entire, one of my most popular presentations is called Core Natures in Business. And there are primarily two core natures that exist in the professional business world or in our personalities. And it's either pragmatic or what I call aesthetic. And the aesthetic, wonderful aesthetic people, I call them my gentle giants. And these are people walking around in the world that are very relational. They're all about the emotions and the feelings. They're all about bringing human aspects into the world, okay? The pragmatic people, they are the down and dirty results, productivity, let's get it done, keep it moving, their action, okay? So when these two people come together in business, there's a little bit of a rub sometimes. You know, they can kind of run into some problems, all right? And what ends up happening is that for the aesthetics, I always tell them, you know, you guys need to be really careful in business because they really want to have that likability factor. And I tell them, you know, for the pragmatics, they're so busy plowing through things that they can come across a little bit harsh and a little bit bullies, and they can kind of plow through like a bull in a china shop. And I warn them about that. But with the aesthetics, I tell them, here's the bottom line. You guys can want to be liked so much, and you're looking for that approval so much that you can sometimes pass up the idea of being respected in business because you're looking to be liked so much, okay? So that's a quick little summary. And I get into this discussion of being liked versus respected in business. Here's the bottom line. In business, there is absolutely, in my opinion, an order to this. You must always fight to be respected before you are liked. Because the bottom line, Mara, is that I can like you very much, but that does not mean that I want to do business with you.
Right.
But if I respect you, I will eventually like you in most cases. I can respect you, and if I respect you, I will do business with you. How many times, I know I can name a million times where I like someone very much, but I don't know that I'd necessarily trust them with my money, with my business dealings. There are elements to them, I like them, but maybe they lack a strength around them, or an intelligence about them that I question. There are things about them that I don't respect, but I can like them very much. So in business especially, and I find this, and with the core natures, people always ask me, is it gender specific? It absolutely is not. My husband is a very, very aesthetic person, and I am a raging pragmatic. I mean, it's not gender specific. But I tell people very often, be respected in business. That is most important. If you are respected, you will be liked.
I love that. It's so true. So building that respect, building that self-confidence, and then bringing that self-confidence into creating a passionate profit plan in a business where you can begin to focus on those 5 areas that we discussed is a great way to build a foundation for a successful business.
I believe so.
Awesome. I love it. So, Deanna, you had a couple different things that you wanted to offer to the audience, and the first thing is a free webinar that you're giving.
Yes. So I feel kind of funny because when I picked this webinar, I realized I'm giving away a money webinar when I'm doing this on Mara's show, who's like the queen of money. But bear with me, because part of what I do when I help and I coach people is that a lot of times when we get to the organizational part of business, I often talk obviously about their profits. I talk to them about being organized with their money, and 99% of the time I ask them, do you have a business budget or a home budget? And they say no, as I'm sure you know. And I am what you call a budget nerd. In my household, my husband, if he gets a red box for $1.30, it gets logged on the budget. Okay, it's just the way my household runs. So, and I believe very strongly in knowing your numbers and being very systematized with your business. So this is a really fabulous webinar. I think that everybody will find some good information in it. It's called How to Grow Your Money Tree, both personally and professionally. We're going to dig deep into what is your relationship with money from way back when. We're going to talk about what the rich really do with their money. It's not what J-Lo and Heidi Klum are doing. It's with the average person down the block who is your average millionaire who lives in your neighborhood. We're going to talk a lot about what the 3 strategies are to save more and also earn more. So it's a really, really good webinar, and it is absolutely free to your listeners.
Awesome. Well, and what I love about that is it's going to give some of the basic building blocks, and then once people start saving more, they can come to me and I can help them know what to do with it.
There we go.
We work perfectly hand in hand. No wonder we were meant to play together.
Yes, yes. And they can afford to hire me as a coach. It's win-win all the way around.
Exactly. So go ahead right now, if you're listening to this or watching the archive, head over to themarashow.com. Right underneath the archive button, you're going to be able to click and get, is it immediate access to that webinar?
Yes, right now they can get in there, and we have a password. It's password protection. Should I give it out now?
Oh, sure, yes.
Okay, so when they get to, it'll click them over to my website, and the password is Mara Show Rocks. And
awesome.
That's capital M, capital R, capital S. Mara Show Rocks.
Perfect. And what we'll do is make sure that that code is right underneath the button so everyone has that. It makes it really easy for you to access that webinar. And then you also have something special that you're going to offer through the end of this summer for all of the archives. This is being recorded in the summer of 2014. So through August of 2014, you'll be able to get a special offer for coaching with Deanna. So tell us a little bit more about that.
Yes. So after you set up your budget, or if you need help and you've gone and you've invested with Mara and now you're ready to go jump in and do some one-on-one intense work with me, we will have fun, but we will dig deep into what you need for your business. I'm offering a coaching special. It's 3 months worth of coaching for a discounted price of $597. I will tell you, I've never gone this low before, so I'm feeling very generous, and I would love to work with you. What this does, it's $150 savings, and it offers you 6 one-on-one, 1-hour coaching sessions with me over the course of a 3-month period. And we will look at your business and we'll decide what do you need and where are you, not operating at your highest and most efficient level, whether it's your systems, whether it's your discipline, whether it's your lead generation, marketing, whatever it is you need, I will help you do that. Are you looking to hire somebody? Are you needing to get better with your sales? Is it your networking? We'll sit down and kind of take a look at it, maybe rewrite your plan and make it more profitable. So I'd love to chat with you about that, and you can reach me with all the contact information that Mara has.
Great. So what we'll do is go ahead and put a separate button through the end of the summer that if someone's interested, they'll be able to get all of your contact information through clicking that button and talk to you about that coaching special through the end of August 2014. And for everyone who's watching this archive, you can head over and get that awesome free webinar from Deanna. Deanna, I want to thank you so much for being a guest on the Mara Show. I loved being able to interview you. It was so much fun. You bring so much energy and life to the conversation. And I look forward to partnering with you again in the future.
Well, thank you. I love you. Love you. Mwah, and hello to all your listeners. And thank you for having me, sweetheart.
Great to see you. And thanks for being a guest on the Mara Show. For all of you that joined us live, thank you. For those watching the archives, please do head over to themarashow.com. You're able to subscribe there so you get notices about all of our guests that are coming up. And you'll be able to join us live in the future. Thanks so much and have a great day. Bye.